that's hurting every American family, and we're going to have to have some real solutions, and we're going to have to get some relief pretty quickly, as we well know, and everything on the table considered, in my opinion. Mr. Ness, as we have seen in this year and last year, the United States fossil fuel industry has been under attack by adversarial energy policies, executive orders, and federal regulations intended to cripple these industries. How do these actions contribute to the instability and unpredictability of the energy market as a whole?
Senator Hyde-Smith, U.S. oil production today is a little less than 2 million barrels a day less than what it was in 2020, 2019. So we do need to increase our oil and gas production. That will have a direct impact as the world's largest producer on the world supply of oil, and ultimately increase gasoline prices at the pump, as the previous speaker mentioned. What we have seen on the oil and gas industry coming off a very, very rough period through COVID, we have just seen an onslaught, beginning with cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline, then the cancellation of federally mandated leasing requirements on federal lands. Everything has been slow-walked, and we see now the creep of climate requirements into permits, leases, all of the provisions that operators need to do to get those permits out and put together a development plan that they can then bring to Wall Street to attract the type of capital they need to drill and expand and grow oil production in our country. So we see this throughout our office and in North Dakota on a regular basis. We're commenting against federal rules, doing whatever we can. But again, back to those financial markets, it can start today with a message to the financial sector, to investors, to workers, to everybody, that we need American energy of all sources. We certainly lead that effort in North Dakota. We think it's possible. Our energy sectors can work together quite well in our state, grow the production of all senators. Certainly Senator Hoeven has been a huge champion of that. So we can do this, but we need to get away from the transition, to a transition to cleaner energy of all sources. And we think that the Bakken's the cleanest barrel in the world, and certainly American barrels are much cleaner than the barrels that we're seeking for other countries to send our way. So we hope it starts here and produce more American energy of all types, because we're going to need it.
I totally agree, and it cannot start soon enough. How would energy prices, as well as prices at the pump, be affected if the Department of Interior were to swiftly finalize the 5-year plan, the leasing program for the Outer Continental Shelf, and conduct quarterly onshore oil and gas lease sales with, of course, equitable terms?
Chairman Hyde-Smith, some of those plans, of course, are long-range plans, but the message to the market in the world is immediate. And when you begin to do that, as I mentioned in my comments, the bully pulpit has power, and that message to investors and to the investment community and to the markets is strong, that America is going to stand up, produce more American oil and natural gas. The Russian equation must be factored into this. It's a geopolitical issue at this point, not just the pain that all of our constituents and your constituents are feeling when they pull up to the pump.
Yeah, you're exactly right, to hurt Putin's ability to weaponize Russian energy against us and our allies. Okay, one other thing while I've got about a minute left, and to you again, Mr. Ness, I want to look at the necessity of natural gas pipeline infrastructure. Americans are obviously seeing and feeling the effects of the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline, and will you expand on the importance of the natural gas pipeline infrastructure, and while also looking at a streamlined permitting process, and should Congress authorize critical energy infrastructure projects to support the production, processing, and the delivery of energy?
Senator Hyde-Smith, infrastructure is key to not only energy development, but to lowering energy prices because of the movement from the production areas to the consuming areas to the refining areas. And certainly the Marcellus Shale is not in my backyard, but I know that the ability of that shale play is incredible to produce more natural gas. We can not only supply our own citizens, but we can supply our friends and allies, and we have certainly seen that in the Bakken, as we're now moving 700,000 barrels a day from the Bakken to our largest refining center in the Louisiana Gulf Coast every single day, responsibly, reliably, quietly, environmentally soundly through the Dakota Access Pipeline. It's an incredible asset to our nation to be able to supply our own refineries in America with homemade American Bakken oil versus Libyan oil, Venezuelan oil, OPEC oil.
Yeah, just makes sense. Thank you guys for coming and being willing to testify today, and I certainly appreciate it, and my time is out.